content is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained on here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by Draper Goren Holm or any third-party service provider to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever.
Hey everyone, it is me. We are here. Joseph is here too. Say hi, Joseph.
Hey, what's up?
Boom, boom, boom. We're recording.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
I am recording this on the computer now.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Boom. All right. It says it's recording. Boom, 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 boom. I am apparently recording.
The entire bottle of control. They're all exactly the same.
Crypto art, and then what it really is an NFT.
Wow.
Eddie wants to slap the bag.
So this is the next best thing.
DeFi is going to be a bubble.
It's provably scarce.
With Mad Dog.
Crypto, gold, and silver.
Transparent substance.
Take my money, start a war with it.
Without further ado.
Cheers to you, brother.
Get shit done. Because the system has to collapse before that.
My corona.
Cheers. I feel much better now.
Cheers.
Wow, that was heavy.
Boom! Hey everyone, welcome to Blockchain and Booze number 77, I think it is. Alon couldn't make it tonight, which is a major bummer, so I'm guest hosting for him. But not that big of a bummer, because we don't really like him that much anyway. But so excited to be on the show today, and we've got a cool crew. Some of our longest community members and also good friends, David Rankin and Dr. Adel ElMessiry. Thanks for joining us today. How's it going, guys?
Going good. Going good.
Well, you know what? I want you guys. Cheers! I want you guys to introduce yourselves, but I know that we can't get started until David does a magic trick for us. So,
all right,
David,
let's okay. Man of many hats. So first of all, we got to put on the correct hat for this, right?
Very important.
Very important. Very important that you have the correct gear for this. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show on my phone. Everybody knows what a Bitcoin is, right? If you haven't, you need to learn about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's important. What we're going to do is we're going to take that Bitcoin and we're going to swipe it off the phone just like that.
Whoa.
Okay? Whoa, the first thing we're going to do is everybody needs themselves a hardware wallet, right?
That's right.
So what we do is we take it and we deposit it into our hardware wallet just like that. We close the wallet. Now everybody always wants to know, well, when you put your Bitcoin in a hardware wallet, how do you get your money back out? Well, that's easy. You open up the hardware wallet and you draw the money out. Just like so.
Wow.
That
Magic!
Thank you.
Have you paid transaction fee on that?
No transaction fees. That's important.
Oh, that is really important.
and wait, if you call now, you get an extra wallet with it.
Without the money, without the Bitcoin.
I don't know if that wallet could hold enough $100 bills. I love it. So David and Adel, both you guys, we've spent a lot of time together this last year and a half, 2 years on Blockchain and Booze, and gotten to know you guys for a while. But for those in the community that don't know you yet, maybe Adel, why don't you start and give us your background, tell everybody about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Adel ElMessiry, and I come from an academic family where everybody has a PhD degree. So I had to get mine just to sit on the dinner table. And but I strayed away because in the 90s, I joined a startup because they said the magic words, you can do whatever the fork you want to do, but just make it happen. So make it happen, I did. Company got acquired, and I got hooked on startup life. So a dozen startup later, and 3 successful exits. I'm still in the field. My wife says I'm crazy, which probably I am, but it's the best place to be. It's kind of like getting like, yeah. So, and the funny story is, back in 16, I was like just finishing my PhD, and I thought I'll spend my life in AI. But the work that I did on trust networks caught the attention of some people in blockchain. And all of a sudden, I'm like in all those conferences and talking with people and kind of like absent from home. And it was crazy, crazy time. And I really, really loved it. And that's what led me here down the rabbit hole and kind of like never up again. Cheers.
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 I love it. And okay, we'll dive into what's happening now. But David, give us your background.
So my background's wide and diverse. I had a buddy who got me into Bitcoin per se a long time ago, but I was mostly just a spectator. You know, did more trading of stocks than anything. What was it? We were in 2020 last year, you know, and I read, there's a book there by Ray Dalio that put out a book called the Debt Crisis, you know, that kind of talked about how the United States was going through some major issues. And I was looking at a lot of those, also listened to Ray Dalio, say Raoul Paul a lot. And so I was looking at that, and, you know, I saw Bitcoin becoming more and more important. So I actually joined one of our local Bitcoin meetup groups, and then decided actually out of a little fluke, some of the existing leaders were leaving. And so I'm like, yeah, hey, I'm happy to, you know, take up that role and responsibility at the leadership team. So I joined them over there. And then oddly enough, COVID started happening. Right. And so we shut down. So immediately what we did is we took our group and went into Zoom, and like COVID was the ignition for blockchain technology and crypto, because it became this sense of community where like blockchain and booze. I found you know, Alon, and I found Adam Levy earlier on, and just fell in love with this community and met some great people, which provided great opportunity for a lot of people. And then I've continually just met so many people through the crypto community in general. And that's just, you know, and it's been huge. Got into DeFi last year. Actually, I started getting into DeFi. First, I got into Decentraland, virtual property, because I come from real estate and construction. So the idea of virtual property was amazing to me. I'm like, okay, well, this is really interesting, because here I own this piece of property in this game. I can buy it, I can trade it, I can sell it. Then not only that, but, you know, I could see that, and I could see that this could really translate to the real world, which drew me in. Then I met a guy who was trading tokens, and he said, well, what do you think about this game? What do you think about the mana token? And I wasn't looking at it at the moment for the speculative value. And so we started talking throughout the whole year, and, you know, he grew a pretty substantial portfolio, just following whales. And so I got heavier and heavier into DeFi over the last year, which is amazing. And then this recently, you know, got back into the NFTs. As you can see with, you know, Alon's beautiful ape, I have my own beautiful ape, and actually made a skateboard out of it. And so this is a skateboard of my Bored Ape. And I've also made some others, you know, like there's also these Pirate Treasure Booty Club. And so I bought 13 of these and made a nice, beautiful skateboard out of that one as too, which will eventually go up on my wall as collection pieces. So I've been enjoying that scene. Lately, we've been buying the Chill Frogs and Chill Frog NFTs and other things in, you know, kind of, I'd say, going back to the flashbacks of Pepe back on Bitcoin. And there's some interesting people going after those right now. And it's just been a fascinating space. And I've met some of the best people out there. And we are changing the world week by week, I would say, which is pretty awesome.
So cool. I think the only one of the NFT campaigns or PFPs that I have that many of a single of like the collection is probably the Fame Lady Squads, because they were on the show and they were so awesome and they took over. And so I need to make a Fame Lady skateboard deck. Oh my God, my daughter would go crazy. She loves skate.
Totally,
She's super into skateboarding too. And it's her favorite NFT. So
well, I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I got to make that happen. Does that site let you drop ship them? Like if I do a giveaway of something like that, could I?
Yeah, you can put an address. You did. Well, I think you put the shipping address where you want to send it to.
Oh, that's true. All right, I got it. Maybe I'll do a giveaway on the next episode or something.
That'd be cool.
Oh crap! You know, I actually, before we go into what Adel is working on now, I forgot to say, of course, at the beginning of the show that this is not just streamed live on Lunar Crush, because Lunar Crush is one of the coolest companies on the face of the internet, but also streamed on the Blockchain Radio, which spares the community seeing my beautiful ape face right now, but that's still cool. And Kevin asked, how does one make a tethered talk like that? Well, I'll give one day when Alon is on the show, he'll do a walkthrough of how you can also animate your alter ego. But it's involves getting some things made. It's really fun. But Blockchain Radio, Lunar Crush, make sure you support them. They are the most awesomest in the world. And you should be following both of them for awesome content and for, at Lunar Crush, what we talk about almost every week, which is data and insights into our space. So Adel, we met doing blockchain and booze. We met over COVID virtually, and full disclosure, AlphaFin, your company, is a portfolio company of DGH now. We invested in you. Tell us what you're working on there.
Sweet. So you are absolutely right. And kind of like 2019, I was in 52 different cities, according to Google. In 2020, I was in 2, my basement and upstairs. So I jumped on online, just like David here. And I was in episode 1 of Blockchain and Boost. So it's like fascinating thing. Still am here. So it's like an amazing place to meet people. And I'm an example of that. So early on, that was before DeFi summer starts in there. We're like chilling, talking about, hey, what can we do with DeFi and all of that stuff. And I was saying, what happened to the promise of banking the unbanked, of helping everybody that needs help? Like that's what blockchain is about, right? For the community, by the community. And kind of like I am a DGen as well. I go and do like all the farms, all of the stuff, but who is helping the 99.999% that do not know anything about this? So it was Joseph and you that kind of like challenged me. It's like, okay, show us how could you do that. So we started talking about how can we actually use DeFi to like optimize for the impact, not really, not just the ROI. And from there, AlphaFin was born. And what AlphaFin is trying to do is create DLN. DLN is decentralized lending network, where basically what I'm saying is today borrowing is a binary process. You have to have somebody giving you a loan, you give him a collateral. But people that don't have a bank account, the unbanked people, who's going to give them a loan because they don't have any collateral to start with, they don't have a bank account. But all of us that don't have bank accounts and money, we have definitely family and friends. So invented a new smart contract called the social staking smart contract that basically all it does, it organizes the process between 3 parties: you, your friends, and the lending pool. And your friends take the risk, and for that they need to be rewarded. The lending pool puts in the money that supports all of that stuff, so they need to get rewarded. And DLN is basically utilizing DeFi to be able of rewarding all of those. So this way, you get a free loan, your friends get rewarded for helping your story behind out, and the lending pool gets also an ROI. So it's a win-win-win all the situation. So from there, it was like a wild ride. Right now, we're building a ton of stuff. I'm kind of like so happy to tell you what's going on. Like today in the morning, we're meeting in India 16 people on the meeting over there were actually like, that's almost a year after, giving real loans to real people on the ground in the middle of nowhere in India. It's like there is nothing there, but we are actually impacting their lives and helping them. And all of that stuff is getting to be put on the blockchain, which is going to be a huge news coming up soon.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's, you know, when we, you know, you said that we first challenged you and stuff, you know, it's really common to see a bunch of people with PhDs, or at least from the educational world in our space, who talk a lot, but not a ton of people we come across that write great research reports and do a lot of wonderful work actually execute on the startup side and the technology side of the business. Usually, you know, one or the other. But you are an example of somebody who could do both, and we were so excited to participate and help. But you know, something that you and I do a lot is end up on Zooms together and talk about everything other than work. And a lot of that has to do with NFTs, goofing around with DeFi, stuff like that. So that's why this is especially good conversation, because David fits into that as well, because we end up on a call and we end up looking at all sorts of random NFTs and different things. So why don't we jump into kind of what's new and what's the latest and what you've been looking at and doing. David, what's been your latest, you know, most exciting project in the
okay?
In the
So
NFT space?
I have to admit, because I believe in keeping your Bitcoin in cold storage, and because I don't like commingling wallets, I did have to smash buy Bitcoin in the $45,000 range to get myself some peppies this week.
Dang, that's pretty amazing. So,
So
you bought Pepe's with Bitcoin.
Bought Pepe.
didn't-
So the old X-Chain platform, and using Rare Pepe wallet, in conjunction with Free Wallet, we were basically, you know, taking our Bitcoin off of Kraken or wherever, sending it to our Free Wallet, buying some Pepe Cash either through Free Wallet or through X-Chain, and then going and buying some of these old OG Pepes off of rarepepe.com. Rarepepewallet.com. Or I don't know, this is where, hold on. It is, just to be exact, it is, oh, my computer is frozen over there. Rare Pepe Wallet, you look up Rare Pepe Wallet, you'll find it. And it was pretty cool. So, you know, it's the hunt for the old rare Pepes.
You know, it is funny though, because 90% of the time playing around in the NFT space, at least in the cool kids club of stuff that's going on right now, and I'm like waving my arms around, but this version of Punk Ape Strong doesn't have his hands in the picture, but the version with the guitar does.
Well, part of the thing with that though is right now they're actually wrapping these rare Pepes and selling them for huge amounts over on OpenSea, which is pretty interesting. So they're taking
the
old
they're
Bitcoin
wrapping them on
NFTs.
into an Ethereum contract.
Yes, wrapping them into the Ethereum contract and then listing them on OpenSea. And so you can actually find them on OpenSea. It's like Emblem or something like that. And when you find them, you'll see that they're actually going for quite a bit. And so there's a rush to go grab the Pepes and list them on OpenSea right now. That is one of the hottest things going on, at least in buzz rooms that I'm in on Clubhouse.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Are there any? I know, you know, it takes me back to, I don't know, a couple of years ago, where every single thing you would do in crypto forced you to jump through all these
Right.
extra hoops, right?
That's exactly.
And it is a bit like that, you know, like I did the Punk Ape Strong drop on Tezos, and a lot of our friends that didn't have a Tezos wallet now had to log in for the first time to their Kukai wallet, because they sent it directly to the Twitter accounts. And it was fun. I did like technical support for like, you know, 30 people who had never done it before, and was going back and forth with them. It was pretty fun to get them there, but then I sent a few people, you know, half a Tez or one Tez each, just so that they'd have enough to do a transaction. And I was like, hey, if you don't want it, or if you want to buy another one, here's a little bit so you can check out a transaction on Tezos. And then I also challenged a couple people to sell theirs just so that they could see how cheap the transactions are, how easy it is to list things on a different chain.
So a friend of mine, I have a friend that said that was so 4 years ago, but the thing is it's those difficult things in crypto that end up being the most rewarding in time, right?
Oh, totally. I think it's kind of like the difference between when you just play a game and then when you learn how to do something on the command line interface. Like there's just something rewarding, even though it's okay, I figured out how to run, the old Gorillas game that came in QBasic, by showing my kid how to run it on the command line. I was every time I had to play a game when I was a kid, I had to do something like this. I had to tell the computer what to do. I couldn't just, click a button. And there's something cool about that, but I think that the trajectory is similar, right? Like when we are, 2, 3, 4 years into the future, we probably aren't going to be interacting through MetaMask style interactions, or at least most of the community won't, right? So I don't know. So somebody was in the chat with Punk Ape Strong as his avatar. Yeah, the world tour poster. Coop, you know what? Kevin and Coop and John, all the rest of you guys. In a little bit, I'll throw the link out if you guys want to join us up on stage. But are there any other? So that sounds like a cool adventure. Any others lately that have forced you to jump through some hoops? Have you done? I have not participated in almost any NFTs outside of Tezos, Ethereum, and some on Wax because of Crypto Stash and Bozak and them. Have you done any others?
I will admit, the gas prices are so high in these mints that I'll often wait until they come up into OpenSea to actually pick one I want. There's definitely a game to this, and how to, buy them and then, maybe flip a few so that way you can pay for the one that you want to keep. So I've done that a little bit. I'm talking to a lot of people about how I value NFTs. For me, Bored Apes, you have a great example of what you've done with your Bored Ape. You're using it. You have the IP, you've taken it, you've done a creative thing with it, turning into this character. And that's really big for me. I'm really big on the utility case of an NFT, whether it be a virtual property, whether it be intellectual property rights and being able to use that for commercial purposes. One of the biggest things I've seen as a concern is some of the newer ones that are coming out. You got to be careful because they actually have terms of service agreements that there's some legal restrictions as to what you can do. Some are saying that you can only use it for personal use. And at that point, it becomes just an image that you collect.
That's not as fun.
And so I think,
that's one of the, that's one of the innovations.
Right. It's the difference between just being a collector's item versus being something that you can actually tangibly use and have utility to. And so I explain that going, I think that's the difference between one that's going for a couple thousand versus, something that should be more like maybe $100.
That's I think so too. And you know what? The funny is everybody was, using it as their profile picture, stuff like that. And then when we had Bored Becky on this show, she's telling me, she's like, oh, Bored Becky is a fairly new account because that's the account for my ape. And one day, when I sell my ape, I'll sell boredbecky.com and I'll sell the Twitter account and I'll sell this and that. And I was like, and it took Jason the ape, the Hustle House on Twitter, you guys know him. He was telling me, he's keeping his ape, he's doing the boring show and doing all this stuff because he's building IP off of his ape. And she saying that, framed it in a new way. And the next day is when I made the Twitter account for Punk Ape Strong. Reaper made killer art for the full body version of him where he's holding the guitar and stuff. And now I'm using it. Now I'm going to use it to do some fun drops, and I'm purposely using it to get some awareness for Calamint and NFTs on Tezos, which is fun. Brian in the chat, you were asking, has an ape ever been used for commercial purposes? And he's saying he can't imagine anyone making money like that. So people have made derivatives of their ape and sold it for money, right? Like if I, for example, right now, I don't expect it to sell for tons of money, but I made, because it's one of the first ones, I made a rare flyer for the barbecue show I'm going to do in, not really, but it's like a pretend world tour I'm doing, in Jason the Ape's mom's backyard. And it's being auctioned on Tezos, and I don't know, it's at like $20 right now or $50, and one day I'll make that money. But like we talked on this show, you know, what's the iced tea company, Arizona Iced Tea bought an ape and used it as like a spokesperson and did a little advertising campaign with the Bored Ape on it, and people are doing it. It's good stuff. They are doing it. I think what'll happen is like some group might end up capitalizing on it in a big way by buying like 10 of them that are all very similar. So it's like different like facial expressions of the same dude or something. Or
well,
I don't know.
I'm sure you heard of the recent auction, right? The recent auction of 101 apes, $24 million.
There were some rare ones in there too.
So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I saw somebody selling a pair of shoes with their ape on it. You know, they had their own shoe line.
That's pretty rad.
That was pretty cool. So
I think
this is just the start of it all, you know.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I'd buy your skateboard.
Go for it.
Oh, I was just saying, I'd buy your skateboard with the ape design on it and stuff. It's so cool.
I may make another one. That one's special for me because I printed my highest best value that I was currently receiving on it. Here. And this one right here is what happens is I was contemplating selling it, and so I'm like, well, if I'm going to sell this thing at all, I better make a skateboard out of it. And I'm like, you know, I'm going to put the price, because at the time I had a bid for 44.52 ETH, which is almost $150,000. And I was contemplating selling it, and then I'm like, nah, you know, I don't know about it. I'm going to sleep on it overnight. And of course, you know, somebody else took up the offer before me, which is fine, which is a good thing, because in the long run, I don't need it, and I'd rather keep my ape. But it's so much. I will tell you though, it is so much fun going. You see that picture of that ape? Guess how much that's worth? You know, just for the shock value. Going, look, this space is real, and take it serious because this is happening now.
Well, my favorite, you know, stupid tweet that I've done lately was when Bitcoin like hit 50K for that moment, and I tweeted from the Punk Ape Strong accounts that was like, Bitcoin's cool and everything, but I've got JPEGs worth more than that shit. And I felt like that was the best tweet ever. It was.
I love the ones where you see them out there. You go, what would you rather have, an ape or a jet? And everybody's like, yeah, you know, the jet depreciates. You know, it's not an appreciating asset. It's, you know, this and that. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
The whole thing is so wild.
It is.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to see if it'll let.
By the way, this is not financial advice. Don't rush out there to buy an ape tonight, okay? Not financial advice. Even though the market has taken a dip. Yeah, I think the apes have taken a dip a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but that's usually kind of like for people that are flipping them, but kind of like people that really identify with the ape from like, you know, when we were all young and you like collect them cards and like who. Remember the stickers that came in like gum and you ate like a ton of gum just to get that last rare sticker? So we all went through it. It's just like another hobby. It's just like our generation now is in the prime spotlight where you can use all of the stuff for the things that you really like and identify with. I mean, you know, our kind of like, you know, older generation may like cars or like horses or like, you know, like China. Like who keeps China in their household now? Nobody. but it's a reflection of who we are and how we work with them. The
It is.
interesting thing in my mind is the utility. Like the more, like once we pass through the rarity piece, it will go into utility. What can the NFT actually do for you in there? And I'm wondering, like, what do you guys think about like generative NFTs, like art blocks and other ones?
I have one art block. There's a few more that I've wanted to buy. I haven't bought that many yet. And I try to find things that I like that are different. And so I have a couple that I think they're called audio glyphs, which are randomly generated music. And I've also bought the art blocks. So I like to get variation, because I think what's awesome is right now is we're seeing so many NFTs and so many things pop out. I'm kind of personally over the 10,000 thing, because I think because of all these 10,000 collectibles right now, we're overlooking the actual art and the artists that are making the actual art. I think art is really important, and I think what's important about art is a snapshot in time of our culture and where we're at. And I think that to me that's really important. And so when I buy an NFT, I'm buying things that resemble what's going on right now. And that's a big point why I think the apes were so important, is because they're one of the first NFTs to give out intellectual property. The audio glyphs, because it's a streaming piece of audio that continually repeats, makes it the way it works is pretty fascinating. The art blocks, how a lot of them are generated randomly through AI. There's just so much uniqueness out there, and it's capturing just a piece of that. A lot of people are there for the flip. There's NFTs out there that I literally just want to hold, because this is a piece of art that syndicates, that represents this time period, which I think is important and will be collectible over the long term.
Yeah, and it shows like how we were thinking as a society. The idea, like a lot of people would wonder, like, okay, so you made a program, anybody can do that program. True, but for somebody to have put that in that exact moment of time, and the journey by which they arrived to this piece and creating that at that instant, that's kind of like, to me, is really, really interesting.
Absolutely agree with you. And then eventually, hopefully, everybody starts buying virtual real estate to list and show all these NFTs that we're buying.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, like with COVID and all of that stuff, it's pretty hard to like invite people to see stuff. So early on, before then, like the NFTs was like, okay, are you gonna hang them on the wall? But now nobody even comes to your house. So it's kind of like, it's perfect, because you can host a meeting to all your friends and show stuff on the wall in your virtual reality. So you become an NFT yourself, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that I did
I wouldn't know anything about becoming an NFT.
No, not at all. One of the things I did last year is because, one, I kind of felt like I had to give back to society because of COVID. And so last year, there's these NFTs called marble cards, and a lot of people probably haven't heard about them. And what they do is that you can take an article, you can take a website, and it'll make a card out of it using an image, and it'll give a link back to the original article. So what I did last year, I minted 51 of these marble cards, all associated with articles related to COVID. And basically, we're in crypto voxels on Vibes Island. I built what we call the COVID Museum. And so I put this COVID Museum there with music, with 51 of these marble cards, all capturing a piece of 2020 in COVID and what was going on during that time period, as a museum to kind of just sit there as a place for people to go back and learn. And it was funny because I was in Clubhouse and I was talking to somebody, and they're like, I mentioned the COVID Museum, and he's all, "Oh my God, that's yours?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's all, "I was just using that as an example of what people are going to do, making museums in virtual spaces in the future." He's, "I didn't know." Cool. I was like, "Well, thanks."
Yeah, and you know what? That's another thing that is different. So past generation, in order for you to make a museum and do all of the stuff, it's an actual project. You have to build things, and people have to fly and come to you and all that stuff. But the power of virtual worlds is that, they are available. They are a mouse click away. So there is no limitation to your imagination. Absolutely. So that's kind of like, unleashes something quite new, right?
Hey, David, could you share your screen right now and show us the COVID Museum?
Am I able to do that on this?
If you
think
click
so.
on share screen, I can bring it up on the screen. I would love to check that out.
All right, let's see if we can do this. We'll share screen. Share screen.
Or you can share the link too with everyone. But if you can share it as like a demo,
We'll
and then
share it.
I think it would be really fun.
Let me do a Chrome tab. Hold on, let me just do this real quick. Voxels.com. Sorry, I was not planning on that.
Oh, no worries. You know what's cool is I actually went today and visited my super world land. I do that. I try to do that like a couple times a week, but I haven't been able to as often. But what's really cool, let me know when you're ready, and I'll bring it up on the screen. But what's cool is I think they're going to make things like this more and more available. So you can physically go and visit your like a place and see like a NFTs, like an AR up on a mountain or wherever you are in a place. But you can also, I think you'll be able to kind of click on a map and then zoom into a place and see a museum, or have a museum in Super World too, which would be really cool. Are you? Can I share the screen yet?
No, give me 1 second.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna go find it. We'll go over here real quick.
Yeah, what's cool about Super World is that it actually builds on top of like real world, so it's like this connection. So instead of like the metaverse where you are just completely out, in there kind of like Star Atlas. It's all kind of like an invention, like, but this one has some link to reality. So now you can extend your actual kind of like existence,
Yeah, I love it because it has this emotional connection. The first thing I did was go to the other side of the world and buy the land that my grandma's house was on. You know what we need to do, Adel? We have to. We keep saying this, but I got to get like a Zoom call going. What people might not know is Adel is originally from Alexandria, Egypt, and my grandmother was born in Alexandria, Egypt. And we got to try to figure out, like, from what we're realizing, they might have been just a couple streets away from each other family-wise. Adele obviously wasn't born yet, but like we've got to figure out where this place was, buy that land, and maybe make some kind of super world version of what David's about to show us.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready if you are.
The origins of our origins.
The origin story.
Sweet. That's right. I'm gonna bring this on. Oh, cool.
Woo. All right. So this is the COVID Museum right here. And then we can fly down inside the COVID Museum.
This is in Decentraland?
This is Crypto Voxels.
Oh, Crypto Voxels. Awesome.
So I own a house in the Decentraland too. And I was probably one of the first real estate agents to put a real estate sign there. This is the COVID Museum though. It has music playing in the background. Nice. And each one of these is a marble card, and if you were to click on it, it brings up a link to the article, so people can reference the article. I don't know if you hear the background music.
Yeah.
And so there is music playing in the background, but all of these basically are related to different articles associated with COVID. Everything from we got unemployment, people filing for unemployment, Bitcoin rallies. Those Bitcoin rallied last year too. So all these different articles related to all sorts of different things. Everything from Floyd protests to you name it last year. And this was made in memory of those lost during COVID.
That's amazing. So I mean, anybody could make a museum, art show, whatever they want for any reason, displaying their NFTs,
right.
not just marble cards, obviously, right?
Yeah, not just marble cards. So yeah, you could do regular art. I have other properties that have other stuff on them. Put a message up here in regards to Bitcoin, and then. Also, I have another art studio up above. So the NFTs, I'm showcasing my NFTs. So I have all these people. These are all the NFTs that I used to make the Last Supper skateboard. And then I have a picture of the Last Supper that I made up here on display.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and then people can actually click on these and go to OpenSea and actually purchase them or see them on OpenSea. So this is a great place for artists, and I see a lot of artists potentially using this space, and they already do utilize this space to advertise their artwork and other collectibles. And if we fly up here real quick, you'll see that it's a vibrant world with a lot of different people building on this. And there's my airplane right there flying through. The airplane looks like I need to fix it a little bit, but the airplane has a sign behind it saying the regulators are coming. So anyways, that is CryptoVoxels.
That's so cool.
And the nice thing here also is that when you are in the virtual, you're kind of like, there are no constraints. You kind of like, you could be whatever you want to be. If you want to be a dragon, if you want to be an ape, does not matter in there. So that kind of like removes stereotypical kind of like look at you and kind of like forces people to see what can you create, your creativity. So it's to me, it's like an amazing thing where this is the next evolution for us as humans, is to try to interact on that level in there, not just kind of like in the physical world, but virtually in there. And then when you actually go see those people in person, then it's like a whole other dimension. It's like, wow, you're nothing like your virtual world. Yeah, of course not. So now you can see like the differences and how it is kind of like related to each other. And put to it that you're talking with people that might be across the globe. So it's kind of like, thousands of miles away, but they share the same idea and thought with you in there. So that's kind of like would be amazing.
Yeah. It actually had a lot of traction. I think it had like the first weekend I put it up, I think it had like over 800 people. And like Adel's saying that, there's people from all over the world that have access to this space. And so we're really united. I've been into other CryptoVoxel properties, and they have Japanese or some other language up on the wall, and so it's global at this point, which is pretty awesome.
That's amazing, David. Can you? I don't know if you're in the community Hangout chat. Actually, it's a good thing that I probably should have mentioned earlier about a million times, but go to meet.blockchainbooze.io if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitter, anywhere else, so you can hang with the crew. David, if you're not in the chat there, can you text me the link to your CryptoVoxels? Because some people in the chat were asking for it. I'll jump.
Yeah, I'll go back and get that for a second.
Cool.
Actually, you know what? If they go to CryptoVoxels.com, they can simply type in COVID Museum, and they'll find it. I'm pretty sure.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, go to CryptoVoxels and then just have them search COVID Museum, right? Museum, and awesome. It'll pop up.
So you mentioned the regulators are coming. I'm actually gonna jump and change subject for a second here because Crispin had a really good question for Adel. He said, does the threats of the recent SEC lawsuit against Coinbase for loans impact your company from a compliance perspective?
So that's an awesome question in there, and kind of like the interesting thing about what we are doing in DLN is that we basically coordinate all that loans that go through the system. So we really work with MFIs, and MFIs are microfinance institutions. They are on the ground. They are already licensed. And as an example of that, in India, it's a really tough jurisdiction. But we took a lot of time and effort to make sure that we are not in direct contact, but rather we are helping the people on the ground that are doing the work on the ground, just providing them a superior financial product rather than what they are doing today. Because the problem in there is not only kind of like, making the loans or providing the ROI on it, but also those micro loans, small amounts, when you are transmitting them across the globe. So we are truly a virtual big village right now. And if I wanted to help people across the ocean, when I'm sending money, it's $45. Does not matter how much you are sending. So if you want to get 10 people to pay $100 each, you're going to waste like $450 just on the transmission of money. But blockchain does not have that problem. It's global, right?
Yeah. It's this amazing. And but speaking of that, part of the NFT conversation and what we were talking about before is the fees involved with scaling crypto, right? So tell us how you're dealing with that in the short, medium, long term.
So in short, you have to have a better solution in the fees. So for example, we are building on Casper, and Casper has virtually almost zero kind of like fees on the transmission. So all those different networks that are taking the gap while Ethereum is still trying to move from a proof of work into proof of stake, they are building this really niche of allowing you to move, just like on Tezos, where minting is like virtually nothing in there, and sending and transmitting is very low. The same thing on Casper. So it helps you a lot with those. That's how we are dealing with them. And then because now it's much easier to build bridges and have systems that are multi-chain, we are taking advantage of DeFi on different chains, but then building the actual smart contracts on Casper.
That's really cool. We probably need to have a Casper discussion, kind of like we regularly do Tezos chats and I mean on almost everything talk Ethereum, but we need to do a Casper hangout session just so we can all learn about what's kind of coming and happening there. But yeah, I mean, I did all of the Punk Ape Strong drops on Calamint, I did them on Tezos. I went overboard. I mean, I minted I think about 200 NFTs altogether so far, and that wallet has spent maybe $50, but it would have cost me a lot less if I was simpler about it. But I made a bunch of different versions of things and launched a bunch of contracts because I wanted to create different rarity levels and get crazy. If you would have done something like that on Ethereum, it would have cost thousands and thousands of dollars.
Right.
Yeah, which begs the question: is Ethereum starting to become a store of value versus a value platform kind of thing? It was critical bringing the ERC20 and bringing all those tokens, and then ERC 721 and so forth. And people saw how can you build on it. But I remember the days when when you paid the transaction fees were kind of few cents, right? Now you can.
It's great for 2,500 people.
Yeah.
If you get more than that, if you get more than 2,500 people minting an NFT, the gas is up to 100, 200, 300, 500. When they had the new ape drop, it got up to 2,000 way. I thought it was
crazy.
Broken. I thought it was literally broken.
I thought so too. I was trying to figure out what I was doing wrong with the transaction and stuff.
It was amazing to see that it actually continued working. I heard Solana didn't have such luck just recently.
Are they still down? I don't want to kick somebody while they're down, but they were down for at least, I think it was 7 or 8 hours today.
Right, that's what I heard
and
too.
I don't know if they're still down. And I can't really say much about it because I haven't experimented or played with Solana very much.
Well, my NFT buddy's been going over to Solana lately, and so I don't know. We'll see what happens now.
Well, we'll see. I brought a bunch of people over to Tezos just purposely for this drop, and Tezos transaction-wise is now. What's funny is some days it's surpassing Ethereum in terms of number of transactions because of very tiny, small transactions and free NFTs and things like that. But when you go dollar value, ETH, of course, kicks the crap out of it.
Yeah, but this is what I've been saying to people for a long time. So it's people like miners, and people want to make money off of that one transaction and make all their money off one transaction. But that's not how business works. If you look at Walmart makes money because they make a little bit of money off of a vast amount of transactions. It's all about volume. And that's where these blockchains need to go, especially in the NFTs, is we do large volumes. We need the millions of people onboarded and coming in, but it just needs to be fractions on transaction fees. If you have just little transaction fees, but you're doing millions of volume, you'll make money. And that's the thing is we just haven't gained that mindset yet.
I think it'll be interesting. I think that to discount Ethereum and people are like, oh, it's gonna go down, whatever, is ridiculous because that's where where the money is, and it's where the developers are. But it's a huge opportunity for other chains like Tezos or I don't like to dump the newer ones like Solana in there, but Tezos been around for years and now is finally hitting this inflection point, right? And it's on one hand we're really excited and happy because there's things like Plenty doing DeFi, and Plenty is by far the biggest DeFi product on Tezos, but it's got $50 million locked in there, so it's still early, right? But then you look at the NFT platforms there, and they're killing it, but it's still really, really early. And we'll see what happens, but I think we're at that moment in time. It's ridiculous to think it's all going to happen on one blockchain forever.
Sure.
But it's okay to think of certain ones for certain use cases too. I think people are nuts if they think, Tezos is going to be the only one, or they're the Ethereum people who think that Ethereum is going to take over what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is exactly going to do what it does. It's going to always do what it does, and Ethereum can do what it does as well. And you can argue it all day long, but it's crazy to think one is going to,
Well, it's only going to be weirdos like us that are willing to beat our heads and try to figure out how to use something, where the common person's going to want a simple interface where they just push a few buttons and they're done.
Yeah.
And we're not there yet.
That's exactly right. In DLN, what we discovered working in India and all of the stuff is it's really hard. So we had to completely remove. When you look at the app that we've developed, you don't feel that you are working with blockchain at all. Blockchain is the back end. Like today, you are talking over TCP/IP, but how many know actually how it works? I do. Right. So the same thing. That's exactly the approach for that. Now, for the chains, I feel that the future is going to be in two things. One is this cross-chain communication. So a lot of bridges are happening. When the NFTs, you can mint them on one chain, but really trade them on the other one. So it will be seamless to cross back and forth in there. So just imagine minting it on Tezos, but selling it on OpenSea on Ethereum, and it locks it up on your Tezos side. That's one. The other thing that I'm starting to call for is what we call chain terraforming. So we have a lot of different chains when you look at them. So you have Ethereum. You used to have proof of work. That's the base one. But then we have different ideas of how to build a chain better, more robust, like what Tezos did, like what Casper did. And then on each of those, you have an ecosystem. Once you start to terraform the ecosystem, meaning put DeFi, you have Plenty. Put NFT, you have Calamant. Now build some bridges to outside so you can bring the money in and out. Build the lending facilities. Build Uniswaps. All of those that start to terraform your chain and go cross chain. That's what would make it vibrant. And the fact that it is on a different flavor of it does not mean it's better or worse. It means you have things that can be done better. Just like we have a gazillion different car manufacturers. It does not have to be one car manufacturer and only one view. Diversity is good.
Yeah.
Well, it creates competition. It creates more opportunities. And I always say that the more, a lot of chains were against the bridges at first, and then it became a thing where the cat was just out of the bag and people were building it regardless of the main people's participation. And so to me, the bridge is the best thing in the world because it'll help the best products in the world rise to the top. And they're getting better and better. You can right now wrap your ape and put it on the Tezos. I haven't done it because I don't know why yet I would do it, but I've wrapped USDC and Ethereum. I bought either USD Tez or even wrapped USDC and brought it over to stake on Plenty and do things like that. And it's really cool process.
I hope you have another ape so you can wrap it and put it over there and be the first.
Well, I'm probably not going to do it with. Actually, I might. I'm not against it. I don't know if. I'm assuming they wrapped somebody's ape as a test case.
Right. Yeah.
But I had seen a video of a transaction or an example of a transaction where they wrapped one of the mutants. That
ape needs to be the spokesmodel for Tez.
What was that?
That ape, the first ape that gets wrapped, needs to be the spokesmodel for Tez.
I will pitch to the foundation that the Tezos Foundation should buy an ape and then wrap it, and then although I would think that they'd be more inclined to, support a community that's building their own version or
right.
not a copycat, but there is, rocket monsters on Tezos, which is a cool project. There's one that got some traction lately called Tezards. I've got a Tezard that's got a cool sweater that's like a rainbow sweater. It's pretty awesome. I think it's the coolest one. But there's some cool projects happening now. Their own Tezos flavors. Actually, thinking about
what about a metaverse? Do you guys have a metaverse yet in Tezos?
There's some people. I've heard of a few people thinking about doing some things. Nothing that's public yet, but that'll be epic. I think what should happen is like something like crypto voxels. I don't think is the actual metaverse like decentralized and on a blockchain, or is it just built on top of?
When they update a server, you can see it, and they have server issues every once in a while.
So centralized servers, but the data be.
Well, you own the property you own is decentralized. You have ownership of that through an NFT.
If the crypto voxels servers went down or something, could I run my own servers?
Probably
to keep it up?
not. Probably not. I don't know for certain, but I would guess not, because if they're having a glitch on their servers or their issues, you can't access your property.
See, it would be cool if outside sources could run their own servers and things like that. Then if that company goes down, it'll still exist. And then things like the actual metaverse could be chain agnostic. So like in crypto voxels, I should be able to show my ape, show my poo-poo.eth things, show my rainbow unicorn.tez, my daughter's stuff on Tezos, right? And like show all the different stuff, show my show them all, right? I think it would be cool if the metaverse itself could be agnostic. But if a metaverse was needed to run on chain, Tezos would probably be a better one. Just saying.
Well, so Decentraland actually moved over to Polygon like last year because they first saw the issues, and they were one of the first ones using Matic on the gaming level.
Cool. That's cool. I think all this stuff is going to come, and
it's so much fun seeing the interoperability between it all and just happening. Like you got Polkadot, who's trying to do all these parachains and bring all these different blockchains together, and there's no reason why we can't have multiple blockchains and use multiple blockchains.
I want multiple, and I want the interoperability to work not just in like displaying the NFTs, but I want it to work like a marketplace, because I want to be able to be in your crypto, in your crypto voxels.
With your Tez character, right?
With my Tez character or with my punk, but then I want to take it to the next level. And then if I want to buy one of the NFTs that are on display in there, I want to be able to use my USD Tez or my ETH TZ or my Plenty to actually buy it, right? And it might be the token, but why can't I? If I use my debit card and it's a US bank account, but I use it in Europe, they just do the conversion and I pay for that thing I'm buying in euros with my US dollars. I want to do the same thing with my Tezos tokens. I want to be able to buy. I think that's the interoperable feature that'll be fun.
So with CryptoVoxes, what sold me on CryptoVoxes, because originally I have property in Sandbox Game, I have property in Decentraland, I have property in Somnium Space. And I held out for a while on CryptoVoxels because I saw it as inflationary, because they create new land every once in a while. But what sold me on it is I have an Oculus for VR. And CryptoVoxels, you can actually go into your CryptoVoxel property with your VR headset. It's a little clunky on walking around, but I'm like, okay, this is the future. This is awesome. And then I started buying land there. But that's the future, is just us just wearing VR goggles, looking at our NFT art with in a virtual space with an Oculus.
Just imagine right now I actually took over my daughter's room, because over COVID times my son and daughter decided they want to like share their room. So I took over her room, and it's a pretty small room, but it's like my office now, right? But once I start using VR goggles as my office, the mop closet can be my office, right? Like, all I need is decent air conditioning, and there we go. I'll just go park in my car outside and work all day.
What you need is your imagination. One
You
point
need to take them off every once in a while.
I guess. I mean, I don't leave my house, so what do I need to leave the goggles?
Yeah, one thing that you've said, Alon, here, like just a couple minutes ago, is really, really profound. Is that once the bridges started to pop over, so and that's kind of like a big difference between centralized and decentralized systems. So even when the chains did not want to do bridges, it was not up to them. So the people wanted bridges, the people created the bridges, and it happened. So and what happens in blockchain in matter of days and weeks takes years to happen outside in there. It's like just to get a compatible file format between Apple and Windows took like ages in there. But in Decentraland, it's like done.
So cool. So
That's
cool.
what's so beautiful about the space.
Guys, we're actually running out of time, so I want everyone to give a plug to something, and then we'll end, and then people who are watching can come hang out, meet.blockchainbooze.io. You can hop on a table and hang out with me and David and Adel. So come join us. But David, first, why don't you give us a plug? You got anything you want to plug? Your Twitter account?
I'm David W. Rankin. I'm also part of Cap City BTC. If you go to capbtc.com, it's a meetup group that's out of Sacramento. We have some meetings via Zoom and bring speakers such as Alon and other people. I don't know if you've been there, Adel, yet. Have you? I don't remember if you have. I think you did. That was a while. No, I know you visited. I don't think you spoke. And so maybe we'll have to have you there too sometime soon. That'd be cool. Yeah. And then I'm also on Clubhouse, just as David Rankin. You can find me, and I'm often talking about DeFi and NFTs and you name it.
Love it. Love it. Adel, where can we follow you and DLN?
DLN.org. Just come and see what we are up to, and if you join, you get a free NFT. You pay nothing for it, not even transaction or minting fee. It's all free in there. So we rolled our own contract there to bypass everything else. And then kind of like on Twitter, like follow me, Adel ElMessiry or DLN DAO on Twitter. And the movement is starting. So let's change the world one micro loan at a time. We have a huge campaign for goat farmers coming up, so it's going to be huge.
I love it. I'm so excited, and we'll let everyone know. Hey, something I didn't mention, next week, next Tuesday, Gary V will be our special guest. It'll be almost as exciting as this episode. So make sure you hang out again next week. And thanks again to Lunar Crush and Blockchain Radio for streaming this for us and being our best friends. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Everybody else, come join us, meet.blockchainbooze.io right now. It's going to be awesome. Bye, guys.